and welcome to Default Assault, where we take on everything by default. I am your host, Demosthenes, and tonight we'll be talking about the Avengers Infinity War. Everybody's looking forward to the film, and by God, there'll be 67 characters in this thing. Obviously, somebody is gonna die. So tonight, Kyle Nash, my ever-faithful partner, and I are gonna be talking about which characters are possibly gonna bite the dust. Now, obviously, we're not going to talk about all 67, so we'll be splitting this list into two and deciding which characters may bite the dust.
Man, listen, I am stoked. Stoked! I mean, listen, no one, war, what is it good for? Movies, bitches, Infinity Wars. Let's go, Demos. I'm stoked. Let's do this.
Do I even have to say that we're excited to see this movie?
War! Anyways. Let's do this.
I gotta get that soundtrack cleared. Give me a second. Before we begin, let's just throw out a few of the names that, come on, we all know are gonna survive for the next few films. So we don't really necessarily need to spend too much time talking about it.
Obviously not. The Warriors 4 aren't gonna die. They're too tight with Thor to. Oh shit! Wait.
The Warriors 4. You see, there was an odd member of the Warriors 3. There was Volstaff, the other two names I can't remember, and Larry. Larry had the most gruesome death, but they wanted to avoid the NC-17 rating.
Well, I mean, that's why it's the Warriors 3, is because the Warriors 4 was an extra. Shut up, Demos.
Okay, so let's get some of these names out of the way quickly. We got, the Bugmen. We got Ant-Man and Spider-Man. They're not going anywhere. Homecoming 2 has been announced. Ant-Man's going to be in the film later this year, and he hasn't even shown up in any of the trailers. I sincerely doubt that these characters are going to face any major harm in this film. So yeah, the Bugmen, they're going to be there. The Black Panther cast, we're going to see a lot of them in there. I sincerely doubt that any members from the Black Panther film are going to perish. Shuri, his sister, is not going to perish.
No.
Black Panther is definitely not going to bite the dust. Don't
listen. She won't. But if they even thought about it, I would have to punch someone in the face if they took out Shuri. No. Go, Demo. Okay, let's go. I don't want to think about that. Let's go.
So Black Panther is safe. And I would even venture to say that all the major Guardians of the Galaxy characters from the first film, with the addition of Mantis, are safe. They have a third film coming up. I sincerely doubt that in their first major team up, something really bad is going to happen. We might see something with Gamora, being that her father is Thanos, but I sincerely doubt that she's going to perish in this film, especially since the romantic connection between her and Star-Lord hasn't proceeded to that next level yet. They're going to keep them around. Mantis is going to survive. They're fine. There's only one that we're going to talk about that's going to be shown later on the list, which has a chance, I think.
Might Rocket himself forward, or is that a trap?
They're not going to kill Rocket. That's going to be animal cruelty.
Way to ruin it, jackass. Anyway.
If they take out Rocket, I hope they take him out like Old Yeller. They're going to make Groot shoot him.
Ooh.
Rocket's first trip to Earth, he contracts rabies.
Boo! Muck, filth, slime, boo! Anyway.
And, of course, we also have Captain America's two major sidekicks, Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Right.
Yeah, they're Captain America's replacement for when he dies. If he, in a future film, this film, who knows? We'll be talking about it.
I was about to say, Demos, while it may not be a major cinematic release, I'm pretty sure they're scheduled for an episode of Celebrity Deathmatch to fight for the right to take up the shield.
That would be one hell of a film. I really, after seeing Civil War, I want to see the Falcon Winter Soldier buddy comedy.
Listen, I got to be honest with you. That might actually make the Bucky character appealing to me.
There we go. Marvel, get on it. So now on to our list. We'll be covering 17 characters, and we'll be grading on their survivability or their mortality based on Helas. 1 Hela means they're likely to survive. 10 Helas mean you're probably dead. The goddess of death herself has proclaimed it.
Yes. So listen, if you have one Hela, that means you should be feeling hella good and you should keep on dancing. At least that's what Gwen Stefani says. Shut up, Demos.
Let's get the hell out of here and go to our number one first on the list, which is okay. Now, this character we've debated about whether or not to include him. He's not listed on the cast. Set pictures have shown him on set, but we don't know if it was for this film or for the next film, Avengers Untitled #4. But we just thought we'd throw him out here. Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, debuted all the way back in 2008 at the end of Iron Man. I give him one Hela. I don't think he's going to show up for 5 seconds and just get killed off. I think he's far too big of a character. He's to just go out that quickly.
I'm going to put him at 3. I don't think they'll get rid of him either. But in the event he does die, I think what needs to happen, or excuse me, rather, if he doesn't die, what needs to happen is after the villain does something evil to him, they need to go long kiss goodnight, and he needs to come out and say, "You can't kill me, motherfucker!" And you know, I'm sorry, there's a bleep for you, Demos, but that needs to happen. Nick Fury needs to say, "You can't kill me."
I would accept it if his last few words, and now, because of Marvel's association with Disney, he could say, "God damn it, Higginus Figginus, motherfucker!"
You're welcome.
Hey, the last film used Pinocchio. This film can use Sword in the Stone. I have decreed it.
Can we talk about the single best trailer for that film being "There Are No Strings on Me"? But let's move on.
Okay, so between 3 and 1, we'll give him a cumulative 2 Helas. Next on the list is somebody else that has been absent completely from all marketing. He's not on the poster. He's one of the major Avengers, one of the original 6. Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner. You know, we make fun on this show quite a bit. We make fun of Hawkeye. I actually do like Jeremy Renner, and I do like the character Hawkeye. I just believe that he's been misused up to this point, because when his character does shine, he's pretty memorable. As much as I think that Age of Ultron was one of the weaker MCU films, I thought he was one of the best parts about it. But
I think in the original Avengers movie, who sets him up to be demonstrated as a puny god by Hulk? It is, in fact, Hawkeye.
That is true. And you know what? Tony Stark himself, Robert Downey Jr., the other day said that the reason that Hawkeye isn't in it is because he's going to show up at the end and kill Thanos himself. Which I kind of... that would be a big you to all the anti-Hawkeye people out there.
If that happens, because they're owned by Disney, I expect Hawkeye to dance on Thanos while singing "What Can I Say Except You're Welcome." You know it would be appropriate.
Supposedly the directors have said that he's on his a special mission of his own. If I'm willing to guess, he's probably going to have a much bigger role in the next film. I give him 2 Helas.
I'd be curious if he does get kept alive. I will hope it would be interesting to see if they do a Hawkeye movie or a Hawkeye Widow movie break-off kind of spin-off thing. That would be interesting. Probably won't happen. I'm putting him at 5 Helas, and let me tell you why. He's somebody who, when he's not been a tool of somebody bearing an Infinity Stone, he has in fact given himself enough. He's been developed in such a way that I don't know how much more you can develop a Hawkeye. He's got a family. He would be a tragic story for those who like the character, and for those who don't, they'll be glad he's gone. Basically, if he is killed, it's a win-win payoff kind of situation. I think plot-wise and marketing-wise, it makes sense. That being said, to your point, he could have an avid role in future films, which could save him. And, you know, I'm not saying... Listen, Kenny from South Park, not quite that bad a chance, but I think it's there, Demos.
I think this is another case where if the character, I don't think he's just going to show up. I don't think he's just going to show up to die, because that'll be just a big slap in the face of his fans. He's already been misused in all these other films. Why just have him just show up for that? I think he's going to be in the next film. I think he's going to have a bigger role. I don't think he has one of the Infinity Stones,
No.
like it's been theorized. I think that's the dumbest thing in the world, but who knows? Who knows?
They said the same thing about the Warriors 3, and look what Hela did to them personally.
Yeah, but he's a bigger character than that.
Of course, but
Yeah. So between your 5 and my 2, we got 3.5. Okay, he's looking okay, I think.
Oh, sure.
So next up, we got Benicio del Toro's The Collector, debuted all the way back in the Thor: The Dark World, had a much bigger role in Guardians of the Galaxy, and we haven't seen much of him since. But he has one of the Infinity Stones. And before we go on, I guess this might be a good point to talk a little bit about the Infinity Stones. And I think that any character that currently has one, well, their mortality rates are much higher. So we got 6 of them. The one that's unaccounted for is the aforementioned Soul Stone. It's the orange one. We got the Space Stone, which was a Tesseract, the blue one. Loki currently has it. The Mind Stone, which is Loki's scepter. The yellow one, it's in Vision's head. We got the Reality Stone, the Ether, which is the red one from the Thor: The Dark World. The Collector currently has it. We got the Power Stone, the Orb from Guardians of the Galaxy, the purple one, currently on Xandar with Nova Corps. And finally, we got the Time Stone, or the Eye of Agamotto, the green one, which is currently with Doctor Strange. Listen, the Collector ain't that big of a character. He has one of the Infinity Stones. I think he dead. I'm giving him an 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, folks, that when Demos and I were talking in our production meeting, if we had an opinion, he and I were compelled to add 3 Helas on the spot in our assessment because somebody has an Infinity Stone. And by the way, side note, we're both pretty sure that Glenn Close and John C. Reilly are dead as hell on Xandar, because somehow, some way, Thanos going to be getting that, and he's going to have to go through somebody to do it. So
I'm not sure if their characters are particularly dead, but I think that I don't even know if we're going to see that section on film. This is already such a packed film, and this Infinity War might start with him already having that.
Suffice to say, folks, that if you live in Xandar, evacuate and do it now.
It's the Power Stone. Theoretically, it could give him the power to go after all the other stones.
So what you're trying to say is get the out of Xandar.
Yeah. Those little starships, literal starships, are not going to do shit against Thanos.
Not so much. And I'm glad you brought up the literal starship thing, by the way. But listen, when it comes to the Collector, with my 3 Helas included, I'm going to give him, I'm going to go 8. I was going to say 7, but I'm still pretty damn confident. And though I come out saying the same thing you do, listen, I know that the Collector is an enjoyable piece. His death, however, gives so much of an opportunity for those that he's collected to be let loose upon the MCU, including the Howard Duck shout outs they keep doing.
I've always looked forward to the idea of a Howard the Duck movie. Thank God they never attempted that before this.
Stop it. Just like they never attempted a 4th Indiana Jones film.
We got 8 Helas. We'll move on because I just got an image of Elizabeth Shue in bed with a duck, and I'm ready to move on. Well, speaking of being in bed with ducks, we got Pepper Potts. Now there's a segue, my friends. We got Pepper Potts, played by Gwyneth Paltrow. She's going to be in the film. I'm giving her 1 Hela. I think she's good. I think she's going to be fine. If anything, I have a theory that she's going to put on one of the suits herself and become her comic book alter ego Rescue. We've already seen her in the suit in Iron Man 3. I think that she's actually going to get in on the action.
And that's exactly why I think she's more than 1 Hela. Listen, that storyline is begging, mother effing begging for Pepper Potts to sacrifice herself in the name. Now, granted, if you already believe that Tony Stark is going to have a high Hela rate, we'll get to that later. Perhaps that may be something that preserves Pepper Potts in my mind. But
there's an aspect to that in my argument, and we'll get to that when we get to Iron Man.
Right, but looking at it objectively, without the support of any characters, I can't go lower than 3 because one of these 2 things is going to happen. If Stark is to survive, it's because Pepper Potts did some stuff. Moreover, Tony Stark, in my opinion, has to remain because he has been so much of a teacher figure to Spider-Man. Moreover, the Ironheart retcon is probably lurking somewhere in the background here. Who would take up that suit? We're relying on Don Cheadle and War Machine and all that. The Iron Patriot concept, maybe. I can't rule it out. But I think I'm not brave enough to go 1, but I'm not going higher than 3. If she had a Soul Stone, obviously that would, or excuse me, an Infinity Stone, that would obviously make her a 6. But that's not true here.
Well, Thanos has secretly been impersonating Pepper Potts for over a decade now.
Bitch, like that would be like some Odo DS9 shit right there.
So the Infinity War is really just a lover's spat between Tony Stark and Thanos after he realizes.
You suck, Demos. That's terrible.
Okay, so between my 1 and your 3, we got 2. I still on the safe side, but moving away from the safe side, next we got the one Guardian that I alluded to before. We got Nebula, another daughter of Thanos, sister to Gamora, and I'm giving her an 8. I think she's going to have a huge role in this, and I think that at this point in her character arc, I think that a heroic sacrifice is on the horizon.
A sacrifice of redemption, might even say. I'm not brave enough to say 8, but I'm going to go 7 on Nebula.
So between you and me, we got her at about, 7.5 Helas.
Correct.
So,
hella bad.
She's looking a little bit more likely.
She will not keep on dancing. She does not feel hella good.
I would be sad to see Karen Gillan leave the franchise, but it is what it is. So next up, we got another sidekick character. We got Wong, played by Benedict Wong.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
That must have been an easy casting opportunity. From Doctor Strange, he's going to be in this film. I'm giving him 1. I think that most of the sidekicks at this point, especially a sidekick from a brand new franchise with Doctor Strange, I think he's safe.
Listen, man.
I don't think the film's gonna gain anything by killing him off, especially since they're still setting him up. And he was kind of the comic relief in that first film anyway.
Follow me on this. I think he will, air quotes, perish. Since they're in possession of an Infinity Stone already, obviously there's an element of danger.
I mean, Thanos is going to get the Infinity Stone. He's going to get all of them by the end of the film. It's going to happen, right? And Doctor Strange is probably going to face a major threat, more or less, at one point in the film. So maybe at that point, Wong might be in the crosshairs. But do I think he's going to die in this? I guarantee he's going to be fine.
Here's what you can't rule out, and this is why this is the tough thing about doing anything involving in the Strange universe is strange shit can happen, literally and figuratively. What I mean is this. I think Wong perishes to do something to attempt to protect or while protecting the Infinity Stone in question. Okay? I think he will fail, and I think something will happen to him. Then next Doctor Strange movie, something will happen to where Doctor Strange rescues our dude Benedict Wong, and he's back in play as the comic relief. He's at 5. He's at 5.
You think he's at 5?
He's a likable character, which is why I by himself don't have more than a 2. But the stone in place, I got to add that 3 hella bonus. He's at 5.
All right, so he ends up with a 3, which I think it's pretty fair. I'll leave it at that. But speaking of sidekicks, we got yet another one. We got Heimdall from the Thor films, played by Idris Elba, who has his own tenacity to survive, given some cases in his films where he should have been dead. He's going to be right in the path of Thanos at the beginning of the film. I think a lot of the Asgardians are in great peril. He's going to be on that ship when he goes after Loki and Thor. So I think he has a higher chance. I'm giving him a 4.
That is bold. But I appreciate also that you're adding the Hela penalty by way of the presence of an Infinity Stone. I can't put him any higher than even with the danger, I can't put him higher than a 6. And even still, that's artificially high because we're adding the Infinity Stone penalty there, right? This only proves more that Hawkeye's going to die, because when Hawkeye's dead, the one thing he had working for the team was his vision. Well, bruh, this character is known as the Watcher, right? So that he's going to easily replace Hawkeye. And listen, you don't kill my dude Stringer Bell unless you have Omar and and some help. I'm just saying.
I think they kind of need to still have a little bit of that human element in the film, and replacing. I don't think it's a 1-to-1 replacement. Although I see what you're saying as far as Vision, and we'll be getting to that later as well.
I saw what you did there.
It has been argued by some that his orange eyes and his abilities may suggest that he is in possession of the Soul Stone, which is orange.
No.
I don't know if I buy that.
I don't either, but if that's the case, I'm glad I have him at a 6 then. Listen, I don't have him in Gwen Stefani status, so that's a good thing to back you. But I think he's a character that has to accompany the brothers Odin, so to speak, moving forward.
So between you and I, he has a 50-50 chance of surviving.
Sounds like it.
Somebody else who it's much, much higher, in my opinion. Another character from Thor, everybody's favorite anti-hero, Loki, who is in possession of the Cosmic Cube. I'm giving him a 10. I think Loki is done. Loki is gone.
You're out of your a 10?
I'm giving him a 10.
Oh,
Loki is dead.
No,
Loki is dead, my friend.
First of all, listen. Get help is going to happen some more. All right.
He's going to need some help when he's dead.
Listen, this is why we don't have the apartments.com guy anymore. It's because he's dead, which makes sad about
if there's somebody, I mean, seriously, you can't throw in Jeff Goldblum because nobody's going to want to watch Thanos. They're going to want to watch more Jeff Goldblum. They're going to want all the Infinity War will be Jeff Goldblum's sex orgy.
I'm sorry, I was picturing that. Anyway, listen, first of all, you say it like it's a bad thing that if we get more of the Grandmaster.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying not for this film, it'd be distracting.
Agreed. Hey, listen, you said it was distracting in his own film, but I digress.
He was the best part of his own film.
What I'm trying to say is, I think Loki, not to the extent of the Grandmaster, obviously. I think Loki's too likable. I think Loki, with all his success as an MCU villain thus far, I mean, listen, you can't fit Killmonger into the Infinity War. He's dead. So, as still the top, arguably the top villain between him and the Vulture, you got to keep Loki around?
You're making my argument for me. The film is their confrontation based on the end of Ragnarok is probably going to happen around the beginning of the film. The trailers already showed the Guardians finding Thor floating in space, right? And the only scene they show of Loki is on that ship and never anywhere else. They're going to need to establish right off the bat what a threat Thanos is. And by taking down the other preeminent villain is the best way to set up that threat.
I really hope it's not that simple. But I'm going to put, even still, he's going to have still the Infinity Stone penalty. I'm putting him at 7. And if they kill Loki, what has to happen is he tries to do that deception, sleight of hand, illusion bullshit, and Thanos sees right through it and F's him up, puny God Hulk style.
that would be the most disappointing ending of Infinity War if Hulk just grabs Thanos and starts throwing him around like a rag doll.
But if he does, he has to say, puny God. I'm just saying.
Puny Titan.
It would be sad, but I would love it as well. Yeah.
So we're giving him an 8.5, which is by far the highest so far. Okay, Kyle, that was one hell of a list so far.
A list?
Christ. But we have a lot more to talk about, and it's just too many to fit in one episode. So check back tomorrow for part 2 of our Avengers Infinity War character mortality countdown with special guest star Hela, the goddess of death. I am Demosthenes from hilaritybydefault.com. Check us out every week for lots of fun stuff on Twitter at Default Hilarity and on Facebook, Hilarity by Default. Kyle, where can we find you?
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at the SOTG and on Facebook as a student of the game. Also, Instagram, the SOTG. And of course, this Saturday, I will be covering the UCF spring game with Blue HQ Media. Shouts to Dalton Tinklenberg for letting me aboard on there. Looking forward to that. Good times all the way around. Check out bluehqmedia.com for that. That'll certainly be released Saturday night as I'm covering the game. And that's how it works. Boom. Looking forward.
And remember that life is hilarious by default.